Hey, look, I'm about a minute earlier than I should be, but I see I got some people in the room, man. What's going on this Wednesday? It's been a long week. It's hump day. I see I'm losing viewers too. They said, who tagged me? How did you tag me? What is going on here? But for those that are here, man, tell me where you watching from, man. King School You. Okay, I see you. Appreciate you coming out. How everybody doing tonight, man? Who else we got? We got Inspector Nacho in the building. Recuperating, recovering, getting ready to run. I see ya. Don't be running anytime soon. Mobile platform, Big SARS. Yeah, man. I like it. And we got a great guest tonight, man. Every night, really, but tonight, man, this is one of the leaders that I deployed with, man. This is gonna be good. Good. Who else we got in the building, man? I'm getting ready to go into the quote of the day. Quote of the day is, one word frees us of all the weight and pain in life. That word is love. King School You, I got CQ in a barracks building. I don't live in tomorrow. Are you streaming tomorrow? No. Asiatiako. I miss you guys too. Yes, indeed. I sure do, man. Y'all hold it down. No, King School You, I do not have a stream tomorrow, but I do have one on Friday, man. I look forward to seeing you on it too. And that quote was from Sophocles. Hopefully I said that right. Next quote. Norman Vincent Peale. It is always too early to quit. I think that could go for a lot of people that's in here. It is always too early to quit. Asiatiako, man. What's got y'all going over there, man? I know you should be preparing for your exit pretty soon, right? Should be headed out, doing some different things over in Europe. You got to start doing virtual reality streams to be funny to watch. Look, man, I'm still trying to get this one down. I'm still trying to get this thing down, man. Mustache, I want to know when you go. If I can make it, I'll ask the instructors if I can jump with you on jump week. Oh, okay. Look, I got my stuff all in the way. It's all good. Let me bring in my guests. You like that because it's the salute to service. All right, hey, check it out. We are transitioning.
We've been here, and I just, 3 feet, and fun.
Yeah. Hey, we come.
If haters are far from the best coaching, I give off the Dogs this year.
They
The SEC, the prize in the SEC, has been for Georgia 12 years. So I kept it in the first best conference in football, and hopefully the Gators, we can bounce back at some point here. This year.
Boy, thank you. We come so close to the finish line. For some reason, we're walking and just give it up at the last minute. There's so many people, they don't have mentality. It's like, for me, if my team in it, I'm going to really, that's our conference. I'm like, keep it in our conference. And even when the other things are doing, I'm like, yo, beat these fools, man. It's the SEC talking about. How you get, I'm not going to disrespect anybody by coming out, but wherever they are.
Right, and don't concept, but it's an animal, and only who live that culture again. But what a great conference! All sports are coming back to life on us. With COVID, hopefully in the year, we'll see. It's good that. I'm just glad it's back. My wife and I try to make it to a game every year, no matter where we're at, and that's how much we love college football and just a great thing.
Yeah, I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. Hey, look, we got Mike Gonzo in the building. He said, "Oh snap! It's the man, the legend. What's up, Gonzo? How you doing, brother? You in the garage? You being safe, right? Oh, Gonzo. All right, sir. So we're gonna kick off our questions. So, who are you? What do you do? Where you from?
All right. I'm an Army veterinarian right now, but really I'm an Army leader. And I take care of soldiers. That's what I do. I can't tell you the last time I got in a good day of veterinary medicine. And so now I'm taking a year to about 2/3 of the way through the Navy War College program. It's unfortunately I'm a geo bachelor here. My much better half is back in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
We're very support that she helped me to be here to this program. And I really am grateful to be. It's talk about that, but what an honor to be here. To be chosen to come here. Basically the Vet Corps picks up one vet a year to come here.
Oh wow!
Or to any of the war colleges. So, it's an honor. And for a previous conversation, it goes to show. I was actually a little over a year ago. I was putting in my papers to get out.
Really?
I was going to retire, and literally within the week of me doing that, I actually started my first TAP meeting, and I got notice that I got into the war college. So my wife said, "You got to go.
You got to go."
This is, and so I'm again. I have the support from my family, and it's an honor to be here. It's there's some 50-pound brains here, and I ain't one of them, but I'm hoping to soak up some of that knowledge out there. It's a great crowd to be in. Everybody's extremely supportive. Real quick, the premise behind War College is to figure out how to I won't even say solve what we call wicked problems or complex problems. They don't really have a solution. state you're at, you know, when you want to get to a better state.
Right.
So, you know, it's the art of making that leap from where you're at to a better state. Reassess when you're at that better state and make it even better.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of the problems our modern day leaders are experiencing, these are complex problems, multifactorial, and they don't really have one nice little, you know, 2 + 2 = 4 solution, right?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's some complex thing. And so I have a whole new respect for the decisions that our leaders are charged to make these days. You know, and a whole new respect for that command team.
Right.
You know, that sergeant major, that first sergeant, and that commander. They have to figure out some pretty difficult decisions to make. With definitely making decisions in the gray, so I always give them my support and my advice if I have anything I can offer. You know, so I offer that out there to those. This doesn't matter if you're in the military, if you're in any other organization, it doesn't matter. Leaders are always making difficult decisions with incomplete information,
right.
And so, you know, support your leaders out there. They're humans too. So.
Right, absolutely. Shout out to all the leaders, and shout out to the Jewel Junkie, man. She says, Jewel Junkie said, "Greetings, sir." That happens to be my better half. She said, "That's wonderful and congratulations." QD Boss, what's going on with you? How are you? Thank you for coming out. So, sir, it is very interesting that you're at the Navy War College, because my next question is, what are your ties to the military? You have some very interesting ties, seeing as though you're now a veterinarian, a leader that's a veterinarian by trade, but you have a deeper past. Tell us about this.
I do, and I think it gets more back to the question of what I want to do when I grow up, and I don't know if I figured that out yet. So at some point before I depart the planet, I hope that happens. But no, you know, I started out, and you know, I'm an old guy, so I finished up high school in '88. Well, you know, 1986. Best movie in the world came out, Top Gun.
Top Gun.
And you know, that was the best recruiting movie for the Navy ever had. Everybody, I was going to be the best Navy jet pilot out there in the world, and you know, and so you see how that works out. You know, I went through a Navy ROTC program at the great University of Florida, and it came out, and I tell you what, I made it almost all the way through flight school, and I just had a let's say I'll keep it a vomiting issue. Yeah, I tell you what, crazy. I did my best, but we were starting to get all the crazy aerobatics, and you know, I just didn't have the physiological build to make it through, but I'm thankful. I from there, they said, hey, we'll transfer you over to cryptology and intelligence. So did very well in that field, and crazy enough, I ended up being a flying cryptologist. So I was still on airplanes, and but you know, doing the cryptologic encryption, decryption of communications, intelligence, interpretation, that kind of thing. For the you know, the majority of my Navy time, I did 10 years in the Navy, and I was getting out. It's really interesting. Again, if you let things generally happen the way they should, if you let them, right?
Yeah.
So the Navy, I will get too far down a mouse hole on this one, but the Navy, their evaluation system, they actually make you record your community service hours. And
wow.
And so I'm like, oh God, I got to get some community service hours in, or I'm going to get a bad report. And so a friend of a friend of a friend was an old vet who needed help, you know, and so I'm like, oh, I'll go help this guy out. So I'm almost 30 when this is happening. You know, most people who want to be a veterinarian are about this tall, and you know, and not me. This is definitely a second career. But the guy took me under his wing. I said, this is some great work. And so from there, I made the transition to, I got out, some broken time in the military for 5 years, going to vet school, 4 years of that time. And then the Army needed veterinarians. And so I'm like, well, I'm halfway there. I had 10 years in already. So. just worked out, and I'm grateful. And then 14 years later, here I am. So
Right.
coming up on 24 years, much like you, from what I
Yeah.
hear.
We got our Kobe
And
on, sir. 24.
24, 24.
That's
I got a
awesome.
few more left in me here. We'll, I just got, as I mentioned, I got my RFO today, heading out to Tripler, or across the street from Tripler, to Public Health Command Pacific.
Yeah.
Be the deputy commander out there this summer. So
Nice.
my wife and I are really excited about that. And what an exciting opportunity. I'm looking to take some of this stuff on some of the golden nuggets I'm pulling out here from the War College, and implementing some of those leadership principles with our young leaders out there.
Yeah, that's awesome, sir. So I want you to talk about I get a lot of credit for the crazy running that we used to do. All of that crazy running that we were doing. We was putting more miles on our feet than we was putting on our vehicles. And I had to give, I have to acknowledge the fact that you did some Jedi mind trick on me. So I guess you're a great runner. We should run a marathon. I'm like, oh, wait, sir. I run fast because I don't like running. Get it over with. And you
Running
got
to
me
finish.
good. I was like, we should do a marathon together. We did a couple marathons together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the whole team. And it's like, it's people who never even do one their entire lives. And we did, as a team, multiple, let alone all the running we was doing on our downtime.
Right.
So
No, absolutely. Yeah. I the Snickers Marathon, right? It was a one of those basically marathons that they allowed you to run overseas for service members, and we all latched on to that voluntarily. I mentioned it, and I was surprised how I didn't get much pushback at all. And you look at Croto and Moda and those guys, they're like, I pretty much have the 4 mile a year, 2 PT tests a year.
Yeah.
And boy, those two, they did fantastic. The whole team did fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
We showed Chief Smith out there how it's done with Delta.
Yeah.
And, he did well too. That was his first one too.
That was his first one? Wow.
That was his first one, absolutely.
And then Tima joined us, right? He did it too, right?
Yeah. Old Tima, yeah. He did well. He was always kind of a runner too, though.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't too concerned about him, but we got the whole team across the finish line there, and everybody looked great. That was, Marte, that was honestly one of my proudest moments.
Yeah.
I've had, military bar none. It's some people who really dug deep, and we dug deep for the team, and everybody helped each other out. And it's getting to the finish line is one thing, but getting to the starting line is I think even tougher, right? So all the training, to get there, that's really where the commitment is.
Right.
Game days, you trained right. Game day's easy, and it was easy for all of us that day, because we trained right.
Oh yeah, I think the half marathon was harder than the marathon.
That's right. That's right.
Because that's when you pulled me aside. It's like, look, you need to develop a marathon pace. Because I was running the marathon like the PT test. Inspector Nacho says he loves running. I could not move. My legs were so done. I was like, oh, I will never run again in my life. And then we were right back at it the next week. Oh, yeah, that was so crazy.
I again, grateful for that. What a great team. But that like I said, bar none, one of my proudest. That was probably one of my, if not the proudest moment I've had. Just getting in teamwork,
right?
And when you got all pistons firing and everybody's on the same sheet and everybody wants to get it done, great things can happen.
Right. So. Okay, so let's go back into the military. So what are some? You got 24 years in the service, and you got 2 different branches. So from your perspective, what are some of the pros and cons of actually serving in the military?
So, as I kind of alluded to, this is a great question. I think about this question from time to time. Is that coming up with 3 reasons, three pros for the military is just 3 is very difficult because they're all over the place. But bar none, the sense of camaraderie is second to none. If you find another organization that has the camaraderie that your team can have, especially going downrange and serving with your brothers and sisters downrange, getting the job done, getting everybody back safe, especially for the leaders, and that's you and me, and there's an awesome responsibility there. But everybody takes accountability for themselves. Everybody wants to keep the team moving. The camaraderie is just second to none. Like I said, if you find that in any other organization, let me know, because I don't think it exists.
Yeah, let me know too.
That's right. No, there's just no equivalent outside the military. That's probably the biggest pro. If you hear people, they go to work and they do their thing, they come home and they go to sleep and they eat and whatever, and they repeat for the next 30 years, and that's not the Delta mentality there. So or anybody who joins the military, I think there's a special commitment there, and those folks read that special benefit of the camaraderie and friends for life. Absolutely. And so absolutely, some other. This is going to be a recurring theme, hopefully throughout our talk today. But I'm big into education. I'm big into schooling because folks who they serve in the Army or Navy, Air Force, Marines. They'll do a short tour and they'll get out, and less than 50% of people use their GI Bill benefits, and that's a travesty. It really is. Yeah. I think I've used just about every possible way to get your school paid for, get your education tab paid for by somebody else other than me, and
say it, sir. Preach it.
It's no, I even from starting out in a Navy ROTC program, that was a scholarship that got me through undergrad at BS in engineering, material science and engineering. So interesting factoid, Erin Jackson, our speed skating gold medalist, she graduated from that very same program at Florida. So I didn't know engineers were producing gold medal athletes, but this program is. So
all right, hey, okay, Florida,
so proud
stand up.
to be. You bet. Making us all look good. So, but anyway, there was a scholarship there. There was tuition assistance I used for when I was in the Navy for management master's degree. Coming back into the Army from the Navy on what we call an HPSP, a Health Profession Scholarship Program, to pay for vet school, or at least 3 years of it.
Right.
They sent me back to school for a master's degree, a master's of public health, and that was through the long-term health education program.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the War College, so that's another master's. So I mean, it's the opportunities are wonderful, and I know you can attest to the same thing. They're out there. I encourage everybody to take advantage of those opportunities, because they get you to that next level. That's formal schooling. I think the even more important thing is the informal, and I say informal, what I consider the educational part. That's the time serving with NCOs. Some of the smartest people I've met in the world are NCOs who got me on the right track, and so that's what I consider the real education. And schools. SEER school. I went through SEER school. Those are the educational moments.
Yeah.
Like, you learn a lot about yourself.
Right.
You learn a lot about your personality, what you can take. When to complain, when not to complain. It's going through flight school, physiologically very demanding. Mm-hmm. And keeping your head in the game so you can get the mission done. So it's those are the intangibles. There's tangible degrees, and those are great, absolutely fantastic, the formal side. But boy, don't discount that informal, intangible education you're getting from the service, the leadership, the deputy command and command jobs that force you to you and your command team to work through those complex problems, and to help out soldiers, to help out the unit,
Right.
and to keep the mission moving forward. I can't think of a better education program that I'd want to be a part of than that. As hard as it is, as sleep deprived as I am at times, I'd do it all over again 2-3 times over. So
Awesome.
I guess the last thing, and I'll throw this in there, this is icing on the cake, but just overseas assignments and travel. This Hawaii, this tour will, finishing that up, that'll be 10 years of my life I've spent overseas, including deployments and OCONUS assignments. And so, but I did a country count the other day, just like, how many countries have I been to? And actually, I'm at 50. Exactly.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's awesome.
That's thankful to the military, and not all of them have been good times, but they've all been personally and professionally rewarding.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so you alluded to it. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh man, you asked me the hard question. Well, so here it is. Here's and these have been my answer for a while now. I've been really kind of focusing on these. I've got a couple midterm bucket list things I want to do when I retire. The first one I've been training really for the last 2.5 years, but I do want to through hike the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
That'll be about a 5 to 6 month endeavor. The older I get, the longer it'll probably take, but all right. I'm resilient. I can make it.
Yeah.
No, that's been a I've done a couple sections of it, when I was younger, and what a beautiful trail, a great way to see, what the country has to offer, so that's coming up in a few years here, and just starting to get ready for that. But it's about a 2,200 mile. It goes from your old stomping ground, Georgia, so Springer Mountain, Georgia, all the way up to Mount Katahdin up in Maine. So through 14 states. It's I've read a lot of books about it, and just trying to get kind of in the mindset, and it's everything from, hey, here's the psychological things you have to prepare for. You have to basically prepare to not be showerless in 5 to 7 days. So living in your own filth is a big part of it.
Right.
Avoiding ticks and some bad weather, and all those things that we all know and love. But
yeah.
yeah, that's something I've always I've wanted to do. And the other second big bucket lister thing I wanted to get done, starting to work some of my friends who are in the race now, but the Iditarod sled dog race, it goes from Willow, Alaska, all the way to Nome. That's a little over 1,000 miles. I do want to mush that. The last 10 to 12 years, I've provided veterinary support.
Okay.
So supporting the teams and the dogs, I've done that 8 or 9 times now out of the last dozen years, and what a great time! Great way to see Alaska and the frontier during the coldest part of the year. I think the coldest I've been through is -60 at Cripple, Alaska, 2 years ago.
-60.
-60. Yes, sir. So I'm getting this Florida boy's getting his whatever. Not kicked by the cold, but I'm getting used to it. But that's something I've had my eyes on. Met some great people out there. That, you ever been to Alaska? Those folks are they're hardy people.
Yeah.
And so great people. I hope to latch up with a couple of mushers there that I've helped out throughout the years, and maybe help them run a team through at some point. That'll take a couple good years of running dogs and getting comfortable and building that bond with the dogs. It kind of marries two of my, I love the outdoors. I love the race, and obviously I love dogs. Being a veterinarian, it kind of marries, those worlds together, and it ain't gonna be easy, that's for sure.
No, that's not easy.
But I'll let you know how it goes, But
Yeah,
that's
certainly.
another
Hey, send me messages because I'm like, I might come up and cheer for you on the route.
Will do.
Hey, you go do that. I'll hold your Florida sign up for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Go SEC. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, so if you could change 3 things in the world, what would they be?
This is another difficult one. I just thinking back, and some might not like this answer, but I think if I could change, I would make cell phone usage. I put some kind of a governor on that, and a lot of the, our current soldiers, and they got their heads buried into their phones all the time, and I think it's something where it's really impacted our ability to communicate effectively and socialize, and so I don't want to eliminate cell phones. I'm hooked as much as everybody else is, but I certainly want to I want people to be more engaged, even if virtual communication. So that's one thing that here's another thing too. I'm all about kind of skin in the game. I would make the world a little less convenient. I grew up, before computers. I grew up way before the internet. We still got stuff done.
Right.
You just had to work a little harder at it. And so I think that builds character. And so I think a little less convenience goes a long way. When you can buy a house, buy your meal, and buy a car sitting in your lazy boy, it got to be a little bit more work,
Yeah, it don't seem right. You got it how?
Too easy, literally too easy. But and the last thing, number 3, would be a de-emphasis of grades. I've always been a poor test taker, and I figured out why. I'm pretty significantly dyslexic, and I got diagnosed finally. But I didn't get diagnosed until after vet school. So I'm like, all right, why are these tests taking so long? And I found out when I had a little bit more time to take these tests, I was scoring pretty high on them. So, I lost out on a lot of scholarship opportunities. I say that even with everything I was able to take advantage of, there was a lot that I wasn't able to because of an emphasis on grades. There's a lot of people out there who might be C students, and they're some of the brightest people you'll ever run into, and they just don't quite fit into the education system that we've established in the country, and I don't want to discount those people. A couple classmates of mine, we set up an endowment recently to award $1,000 to $2,000 scholarships every year to veterinary students, and we made the very strict stipulations. We're looking for resiliency. We're looking for innovative people, and you'd be surprised. There's this group of people who are like your C students, but they're crazy. Ingenuity. The ingenuity is there. The innovation's there. And you'll hear this phrase that the A students, they work in academia and theory. The B students, they're your best veterinarians. And the C, everybody works for the C students. So they own the businesses. They're the leaders.
Yeah.
And so we set up this endowment in that spirit, and so we hope to just set up about 1.5 years from now. We should be able to award our first couple of scholarships.
Nice.
And keep that up indefinitely. So we're here to, again, my intent is to identify and create a network for these hardworking people who are smart. They think differently than perhaps what the current academic mold demands from us, and they're the ones who keep the world moving. So we're trying to set up a network of those folks and get them get that talent managed out to the right jobs in the veterinary world. I'm focusing on veterinary medicine now, maybe go beyond that in the future, but we're just trying to get the right people, the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're doing it. Jill Junkie said that's incredible blessing. Yes, it is. So I have a question for you. What advice would you give to leaders? Because I've had this conversation with a couple people just recently, and there are so many people who they're misdiagnosed, they're not diagnosed, and or they're just they're just passed over because people don't take that opportunity or that time to like I would say for leaders, a lot of times we will be like, all this new generation, all these new soldiers, instead of taking time to learn them soldiers. And yeah, we have to change, right? We have to change with the different generations that's coming in, but it doesn't mean that we can't teach them hard work. Even when we teach them hard work, they're still going to do it their way, right?
They are.
Even the generation before ours and the generation before theirs, all of them said the same thing. This new generation back in my day, right?
That's right.
And so, what would you tell leaders that may have soldiers that are dyslexic, or they may have ADD or ADHD and all these different things? And some of them, some people, they're too afraid to come forward and say, hey, look, I'm having a hard time. And so they'll just do north and south and then go try to figure it out instead of getting a clear understanding. What advice would you give to those young leaders, or even some of the seasoned leaders who are just not aware?
Sure. And that's a really difficult question. I'll give you I just finished vet school. I actually had to take my national board exam, multiple times because I could not finish it. When I was given the right amount of time, enough time to finish it, scored very well on it. And so it's at that point, I'm like, I gotta find out what's going on here. And so, believe it or not, this was 15 years ago when I first got in, but I had to go to an elementary school psychologist who ran a battery of tests for the whole day. And she's the one who diagnosed, like, yeah, you have pretty serious dyslexia, and you've just kind of found a way to deal with it. Most people have gotten frustrated and, walked off, and I'm just kind of hard-headed when it comes to those things. But I get it. I'm very sensitive to soldiers, and so I've talked to leaders, their supervisors and the officers out there, like, look, keep an eye out for these folks. They have the potential to do great things, but they just have to approach problems differently,
right?
Than most. But this gets down to knowing your soldiers. If you see somebody struggling, ask those hard questions. And there's plenty of help in the Army. They'll get you tested, they'll get you diagnosed, and they'll put you on the path to helping to mitigate the effects of that particular disability. But there's other learning, ADHD, all those. It's up to our leaders, NCOs, corporals, and
corporals.
to understand. That's right, yeah. So to understand, not everybody's the same, and everybody has something to bring to the table. But it's up to us to figure out, okay, how does this person best learn? How can they best serve, the team? And believe me, there is a program out there that can help them, but it's up to us to ask those questions. Hey, what are you struggling with? And then from there we at least know that in order to get to you got to have trust,
right?
And have trust in their leaders. It's never going to come out. Yeah. They're going to be frustrated. They're probably going to get out, get into some job afterwards they're not interested in, and they just kind of live the day-to-day thing frustrated, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
But it takes engaged leadership. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question. It's a difficult one, but it's all about good leadership.
It is, and it boils down to exactly what you're saying. You got to know your soldiers, and that's what we've been kicking and screaming for these young soldiers and young leaders to know and do. It's not, you don't just punch the clock. You know, it's the difference between being a manager and a leader, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are trusted with America's sons and daughters to go out and, you know, protect, defend, and if we have to go to war, win at war. So
absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna go on a lighter note. How do you know me?
Guilty by association. No, I'm again. Marte is what was the I was the OIC. He's the NCOIC, the greatest team that ever existed in the 248. We deployed together in Iraq about 10, 11 years ago. What a great year! You know, went by quickly because we worked so well together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, them Dragon vets. Shout out. Yes, sir. So it's crazy. They put the I was like, oh, you got you.
Who put me in that? Man, they're
dog.
Dog.
Shout out.
Yep. Into that one. Absolutely.
So, what's one of your most memorable experiences?
That's an interesting question. I, you know, in most memorable positive and experiences, but I'll try to keep it positive. I think there's been about 4 times in my life where I've used up half my nine lives here, and and all 4 of those were airplane related, you know. And I'm like, maybe it's time to get out of this field, you know.
Right.
But the first time I was doing my check ride, I was getting my private license in this little Cessna 152.
Yeah.
And I was doing my check ride, and the weather, this is in the panhandle of Florida, so crazy weather hits you. So here's a lesson to be learned here, but I'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
We took off. As soon as I was wheels up, there was a tornado about 4 to 5 miles. It formed right in front of us.
Oh.
And the instructor says, "Oh, turn right." So turn away from it. So we did. And he took me through he goes, of all the what we tested on, and flying Mrs. Bay coming back in, and then a water spout formed up in Pensacola Bay right there, and then I ended up landing with the 16 knot crosswinds, which for that airplane that's about the maximum extent. And it just nailed the landing. I for once I was on my game. And the guy said, "Hurry up and get this plane in the hangar." The weather's turning bad, but you know, I all those things happened in bad. And you know, the lesson here is that I'll never let anybody talk me into. You know, this was an experienced flyer. You know, thousands of miles of flight experience, and he said, "Go." You know, and I told myself after that, never let anybody talk me into doing something that unsafe. You know, we could have just turn around, we'll finish this at some other time, but we kind of unnecessarily braved those potentially serious weather conditions to get this thing done, and that's the wrong message. So, but one of my most memorable things,
like, definitely it's most memorable. Yes,
passed the check ride too, so I was happy about that.
That's crazy, sir. Look, one of my memorable experiences with you. Do you remember we was headed to Washington? LZ, was it LZ? I was taking you to you was going on a visit a site, and we was chatting it up, and I missed the turn, and we in some random housing area in Baghdad.
Right.
I was like, Oh,
that
no.
doesn't look like.
I was like, this does not look like the flight line. What is
Right.
going on here? Okay, so don't panic.
No panic. Absolutely.
While everybody's watching us, like, what are they doing? It's like, oh my god.
Taking a
Oh,
tour.
I felt like Butler. I was sweating so bad, and just like, oh my god. And then the time when you left and you touched down, you was like, hey, Sergeant Gifford, yep, you're not gonna like this. I'm like, what's up, sir? Yep, I done fell and broke my hand. You remember that?
I do. Yeah. They only let you off, and it's actually MCON, so all the lights are off, and you're in the middle of nowhere. And I got this top heavy. My vet pack weighed 110 pounds. I weighed it, and so you're top heavy, and you trip on something, and it was that boxer fracture on the ground, and you're trying to brace yourself, but hey, we got it done. I got all that. I was able to, with the claw I had, able to draw blood, and it worked out. I'm glad that wasn't any more serious, but
yes, I am too. I was like, I'm trying to get out of this deployment, sir. You can't go nowhere. You ain't going nowhere.
That was awesome. I remember telling Kelly Mann, I said, hey, sir, I'm broken, but I'm not out, and I don't need surgery. So he said, oh, no. Put on your bowling glove and get back to work.
That sounds like him too.
What do you call me for? Get back to work.
That was a good one. That sounded just like him.
Okay, sir. Yeah. But hey, you just made me think of something. One of the funnier moments we had on deployment. We're kind of dialing things down towards the end of the deployment there, and we were burning up all those just old junk. We had that big bonfire. And I was looking through pictures the other day on this, and I came across a picture, but this huge fire. We couldn't get within 60 feet of that thing. But when they call like the 5-alarm fire team coming there, and we're like, oh man, this isn't going to look good.
It got too big.
But I found pictures of firemen eating hot dogs in the background that, we're like, hey, Marte, let's go get some hot dogs. Let's go feed these guys.
We fed them. Hey, don't be ratting us out, man. Hey, go ahead. You know what was the best part? The best part was we had the mayor cell there with us too.
I know.
They were already there, so they couldn't really get onto us, right? That was good.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, sir.
The firemen were like, yeah, we saw it on the eye in the sky, and it looked like somebody blew up the truck. We're like, oh, man. Phone calls are being made. It was a young career. Officer
and NCO was removed from there. They got relieved. They starting a fire, pinpointing where they're at. Oh, yeah, that would have been horrible, but it didn't happen. We worked it out.
Food smooths out most anything.
It does. All right, sir. So give us a life lesson that you can leave us with.
I one of the things that we've all seen this in our careers, and I'm going to hit it again. But take care, soldiers. It took me years to realize this. Going into the Navy. Where you're one of 100 new butter bars coming in, and you're trying to break out from the pack, and so you tend to worry about yourself, and how do I break out from the pack? How do I do this? And there might be a temporary I was able to do this, and I got noticed, and that's really the wrong mentality. Take care of your soldiers. They'll take care of you, and the mission will happen. And it's that simple. But it took me years to realize that. And so I've that's just I think of that often, because once I started not worrying about my career and just trying to worry about the team and make sure that everybody is contributing and doing their part. You don't have to worry about your career. Things will happen. It's your team's going to take care of you. you're taking care of them. And I mean, take care of them. Don't just say, hey, I'm here to take care of you. No, you have to know them. You have to know their families. You have to know what normal looks like to see what abnormal looks like with their behavior. And so that's the biggest thing I can offer, Marte. I just, it's so important. It's not a new concept, but it's over and over and over. It's broken again. And, you have to reinvent the wheel. So.
Yes. I like it, sir. I like it. Okay, so give us. So that was a life lesson. That was a life lesson and a leadership lesson. But do you have a separate leadership lesson for us?
I one of the big things that I'm don't sweat the small stuff. It's we unfortunately, the military has become kind of a risk-averse organization sometimes, in my experience, and we tend to sweat those small things. And it's just like, when you see yourself doing that, stop, stand back, take a step back and just rethink. Like, look, what's really important here? My take care of everybody, and my take care of, is the mission happening in the way the boss wants it to happen, and don't, if you're doing those things, continue on, but don't sweat those small things. Those things just consume a lot of time and a lot of your effort that you should be spending on more important things.
Right.
We all get caught in that trap. I've been caught in it numerous times, and but I'm getting to the point now where I'm less tolerant of doing inefficient things, or I'm like, time in this world's short. I gotta use the time wisely, right?
Exactly.
So,
yes, absolutely.
I don't know if that's kind of one of those universal leadership things. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's simple, but it's powerful, because
it's got teeth.
Yeah, it'll save you. It'll definitely save you. Heartache, burn. Oh, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the what was the article that was urgent versus is it important?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
totally different concepts. You
gotta know how to place those things into those categories and be like, what can I control? I can't control it, then I'm not gonna stress it too much, right?
That's right. You nailed it. Figure out what's controllable. Control the controllable. Everything else, manage, mitigate, whatever you got to do to keep things moving in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sir. Go ahead and we're gonna shout out 3 of your great leaders in your book.
I and I'm gonna get back to my number 1 here, and I hate to be trite, but Abraham Lincoln is absolutely one of my favorite leaders.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into, we've all read certain things about it. I do want to go into a certain aspect about Abraham Lincoln, though. Obviously, trying to preserve the Union, abolish slavery, these huge historic problems that threaten, our basically less than 100-year-old country at the time. And yet the guy had the, he had the hindsight, or the, foresight rather, to look at the typical American at the time and how uneducated they were. He recognized that our population we needed to do something about getting them more educated. So in 1962, he started the Morrill Act, or 1862. Sorry, he started the Morrill Act, which established land grant universities. These were universities that were established for the industrial class, they called it at the time, or the commoners. So you and me, man, that's that move, 150 years ago is what made college possible for normal people.
Yeah.
Because up to then, college or those types of schools were for aristocrats only. And so Abraham Lincoln recognized that we, successful societies have to have smart people, and educated people. And so he, despite everything going on at that time, in the middle of the Civil War, the Union's starting to crumble, the wheels are falling off, the slavery issue, and he's thinking about this other seemingly existential issue, but crazy important. Hey, we gotta educate our population here, to make the society, we got to get them to a level that's appropriate.
Right.
And so I that's what I wanted to focus on. It's somebody recognized that the commoner, the common person, needs to be educated too, and there needs to be ways to do that. You look at your land grant system. Typically, Georgia is actually a land grant school. Typically, where your vet schools are, those are land grant, colleges. So again, the Act of 1862 created the land and the infrastructure to create these schools these public schools that were made to educate the population, and they're throughout every state. And that was huge to me. So that's the long answer to a 30-year question. But so that's Abraham Lincoln. Without going into we could talk for hours just about that man.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw one out here that a lot of you might not. I'm showing my age here, but I'm a huge Jimmy Stewart fan.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart's an older actor. He's been gone now. He passed about 25 years ago, but at the age of 89. But brilliant actor, but he was also just a great American. He served in, came from a family. His grandfather fought in the Civil War for the Union. His father fought in World War I, and he's a veteran of 3 wars. So World War II, Korea, and just caught the beginning of Vietnam. So great American. Despite being a successful actor, he finished up in the military, a leader that was looked up by most of his men. I would from what I'm reading, but ended up as brigadier general.
Oh wow!
And people don't know that. And like Audie Murphy, suffered from PTSD. He flew the B-24 Liberator, which was a bomber back in World War II, and he didn't talk much about his military career, especially his World War II days. But dropping bombs on people is not an easy thing to do,
right.
and he paid the price, behavioral health wise. So it's a testament to what our soldiers today are going through. It's been around since the first war. People have been dealing with these types of significant issues in their lives, and Jimmy Stewart was one of them. So just somebody I happen to admire, and a great leader, a great American.
Yeah.
And then my last one is probably the best commander I've ever worked for. I know Kelly Mann's up there, but this is actually one of my Navy captains, Craig Eaton, and I was. This is somebody who I was an 03 at the time when I worked for him, pretty junior 03, and he really got me on the right path. But I've never seen somebody have as much empathy as this gentleman, and he could, he had an unparalleled ability to see somebody else's perspective, and deal with that. A lot of times, we get angry at somebody, and we don't really understand how they approach life, how they see it through their lens, and
right.
we apply how we see things to them, and then we ridicule them sometimes, and he taught me a lot about empathy, and people are humans, right?
Right.
They make mistakes. They sometimes they're doing things right, and you're making the mistake. And it's just recognizing that. He recognized that, and he kind of taught me to, when you're about to, come down on somebody, take a step back, think about it, and and most of the time you can, okay, yeah, I need to stand back. Sometimes you can't.
Right. Yeah,
We're not
sometimes. Yeah,
but sometimes that's necessary. But most of the time it isn't. If we're able to see somebody else's lens and their perspective on things.
absolutely.
So my three, my most admired leaders. They might be different from the traditional ones out there, but that's who I do.
Yeah, they're yours. That's awesome.
Yep.
I learned something new because I didn't know, you know, about Stewart. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Give us a quote that you live by.
Oh man. So I've got a few of these because I'm kind of I love quotes and I've kind of had the theme here of schooling and education. I think it's incredibly important, that we push our soldiers and into those right training programs. You never know what doors it's going to open up later on for them. So, but this is one of my favorite Mark Twain quotes. I never let my schooling interfere with my education. Right. So
yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So I don't care how many master's degrees you have or doctorate degrees you have. I'm never going to let that interfere with my education, which is what we talked about earlier. It's those experiences you have that really educate you.
Nice.
And so that's one of my favorite ones from him. I do. I'm a big admirer of Colin Powell too. He's in my top 5 leaders. So if we would have talked 5, another half hour, I would have gotten to him, right? So, but he's got this, and this just applies to us to a T. He's got a couple of them, but here's the one I like the most. It's leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them. You've heard it over and over, but it's so relevant to what we do. They have either lost confidence, in your ability to help them, or concluded that you don't care. Either case is a failure of leadership. I just can't state that any better. It's so relevant. There's another quote that I like is perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Couldn't be any truer.
Yes.
Last quote I'll throw out there, short one, but being a veterinarian and loving dogs, be the person your dog thinks you are.
I heard you say
dog,
that one before.
You're the best
sir.
person in the world. Yeah.
I heard you say that one before, man. Yes.
Oh yeah. Be that person, because that we can do it. We can be better.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, sir, you made it. Let me hit you with a slice of the lightning round. I haven't changed my questions, but so you gotta try to answer these fast.
Okay.
Okay, so we open up your playlist. What you've been listening to? What's the 3 most played songs that you have going right now?
All right. Time by Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I Won't Back Down, Tom Petty, off his Full Moon Fever album. I'm going retro on you guys. I'm stuck back in classic rock
Go all the way.
genre. And anything from the group Steely Dan, my all-time favorite band. They're a jazzy rock and roll band from the early 70s, and there's Donald Fagen still playing today. So those would be 3 songs or a group that you would hear in my playlist.
Okay. Where do you go for inspiration?
Again, my wife's lucky to be back in Colorado. Being from Colorado, I love rucking. I love backpacking. I go out in the mountains. I go do a lot of hiking out there, and take my fishing pole too. So that's how I do it. I go fishing, hiking in the mountains, and I absolutely love it. When it's not on fire.
You out there. Please don't go when it's on fire, sir.
Right.
Okay, what's your go-to for social media if you're surfing?
I've been in the work college here. I've fell in love with podcasts, and one of my all-time favorite podcasts is The Way I Heard It by Mike Rowe. He's the guy who does Dirty Jobs.
Okay, yeah.
Really good podcast. just talks about issues of the day that he also tells these stories that you never. It's kind of like Paul Harvey, the old Paul Harvey, where that's the way I heard it type thing, and these crazy facts about people that you don't know about, that he does all the research. And anyway, go check it out. It's a great podcast. He comes out with a new one every month, typically every week.
And it's Mike Rowe. What's the name of it?
Mike Rowe. It's Rowe, and he's a guy who does Dirty Jobs. He's the host of Dirty Jobs. So, but I also do a lot of TED Talks. So, nice short, get the point across, move on. So,
okay, what's your who's your favorite player?
Favorite player? I'm going old school on you. This one was hard, but I grew up playing a lot of basketball. Larry Bird. Growing up playing basketball in the '80s. I'm going retro on people here, man. Is he the most talented? I think he is, but just I look at talent as far as basketball goes. I love a good assist even more than points, and just the crazy assists and the way that guy would make points happen, whether it's scoring them himself or awesome assists. One of the greatest in the game. Hard question though. Boy, there's so many today but boy, just I don't know. That to me, growing up, that was a key part of my life where that was just a great team. The Celtics played well together, and he just kind of was icing on the cake.
Yes, absolutely. He's the further along we go, he's left out of the conversation a lot. He is. And it's almost an injustice, because if you pull up them old tapes, you see he was a bad man.
Well, he would tell people, I'm gonna go right to that point there. I'm gonna shoot it right over you, and he did it every time and hit it. The guy told me what he's gonna do.
Exactly. And there'd be Hall of Famers that's telling you that he told them that.
That's right.
He told me, I'm gonna dribble right over there to that corner. I'm gonna put this shot up just like this. And
right
sure enough,
face.
He do it. And then they like, okay, I'm not talking to Larry anymore. This dude's crazy. So
he's one of my favorite players.
What's your? I already know the answer to this. Best and favorite team.
Do I need to say the Gators?
You gotta say it.
Okay. Even when you're, like I said, nowhere close to being the best team, they're my best team.
Okay, who's the best Gator?
The best Gator. I'm a huge Tim Tebow fan, and I'm a huge Danny Werfel fan too. But Tim Tebow, he's done a lot for not just the sport, but just you gotta admire somebody who can just raise people up.
Exactly.
And that's Tim Tebow, man. He's a spiritual person, and I just it's amazing how we unfortunately couldn't make the NFL work for him, but any organization who has that guy on their team you can't make great things happen with your organization with him, then you're doing something wrong. Right. I think. So.
I like it, sir. I don't root for a lot of Gators, but
see one of them.
When we're playing against them, I don't root for them. But I don't know if I told you this, but my dad, he was from Florida and Georgia, and so he was leaning more on the Florida athletics, and so he had Florida. He would go for the Seminoles, the Miami, any of those guys. But as long as they weren't playing against the Hurricanes, he went for all of them, right? So for me, I'm the Georgia boy, so you see, I'll go for any Georgia team as long as they're not playing against the Bulldogs. When they playing against the Bulldogs, then it's like, I'm a dog first.
Absolutely.
I'm Georgia boy, but dog first. So
dogs first. Yep.
And then in honor of my pops, I'll go for the Florida teams as long as we're not playing against them. But don't tell too many people that.
I heard it here. It's on tape forever.
All right, so we're going to close it out. You got to tell us, what's the all-time best Christmas movie?
Oh man. I, okay. So I already told you I'm a big Jimmy Stewart fan. It's a Wonderful Life is absolutely one of my favorite movies. It's an oldie. It's from the late '40s, right after the war. But boy, I tell you what, second, third, fourth, the ones real close to that one. I love European Vacation. I love A Christmas Story. I watch all those.
Okay.
Elf's become kind of my new one.
Yeah.
I have to watch every year, but yeah, that's kind of my top 4 or 5 in there. That's boy, another great question.
Yeah, that's good, sir. Look, it's crazy because everyone is gonna have different ones, and then sometimes those ones that just keep popping up. You're gonna shoot your eye out. That thing pops up for you. I was like, okay, and then Elf comes up a lot. I'm like, wow,
yeah.
Okay, Elf, okay. All right, so you made it to the end, sir. This is your opportunity to give a shout out to whoever you want to give a shout out to. Do your plug. Shout out your unit. Oh, you're at the War College.
Yeah, I'm with a bunch of Navy guys now, but hey, I'm looking forward to getting back into the field again, and the next job again, heading to Hawaii, Honolulu area, as a deputy commander out there. I can't tell you how anxious I am to start working with NCOs and officers again, and really try to. There's been some. I'm very grateful to be where I'm at right now, and there's a lot of really. I think some important things that I want to convey over the next few years to help improve leadership if I can.
Yeah.
And to help I think now, right? And we've been down for a couple years, and so just trying to come up with a plan to get everybody kind of re-engaged and high on leadership again. So.
That's awesome, sir.
Yeah, but I appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. I told my wife to tune in. I said, "Hey, what? You're gonna make me nervous." So, she said she would watch she'll get the link, on Facebook and watch it, check it out later. I said, "Oh, thanks. I appreciate it." She made me too nervous, but everybody else out there, I heard Gonzo and I hope you guys are doing great. I check y'all out on Facebook, and looks like everybody's doing great and on to bigger and better things. But I'll never forget my time with everybody. That 248. Marte, I can't tell you how lucky I was to come from a totally different. The Army and Navy are culturally two different organizations.
Yeah.
And so. Landing the job with the 248 under Kelly Mann, Steve Greiner, and having Marte Gifford as my NCOIC, I could not have asked for a better leadership team to get me off to the right start, kind of get me converted from the Blue Navy guy to a Green Army guy, and so I'm ever thankful for that. I genuinely mean that. We're all I don't know. We don't realize about things like that in our lives until maybe years after, but I knew I was in a good thing from the get-go, and I always had the backup I needed to do my job, and I have you and those other leaders to thank for that.
Absolutely.
And part of the team. Yep.
Yes, sir. I thank you for supporting my crazy efforts, and I know I had some antics that my rants. But we had a blast, and we created a team and a family, and we went down there, came back, and we educated. I went to school, I finished the degree, and still was going. So we had a vision that we both was on. So it was a great experience to not just get switched to another team right before we're going out the door, but get switched to your team and find out so much about you and learning and the leadership and all of that stuff. So thank you so much for everything, for answering the call when I invited you to come on the show. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have a show with like all the veterinarians. Be like, oh, we're gonna chat with the vets today. What do we need to stop doing with our pets? What are you guys seeing? Stop
That's
doing
right.
this. Stop doing this. Don't bring your pet in here doing this crazy mess. Yeah, I'm gonna have one with you guys. So you'll be back,
Fantastic.
sir. You'll be back.
Fantastic. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks again for the invite. And like I said, I'll be a regular tuning in. Now, my apologies for taking so long. It's been a pretty tumultuous couple years, but the dust is starting to settle a little bit, and great things ahead. So,
cool. All right, sir.
Great.
Well, have a good evening, and everybody else, thank y'all for coming out. We appreciate you, and guess what? That is the show.
Take care now.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.